Hi, everyone. Welcome to the annual ISCB Town Hall, the State of the Society. My name is Diane Kovatz, and I am the Executive Director of ISCB. I have the pleasure today of acting as this session's MC to lead us through the conversation. As a reminder, we would like you to use the Q&A for any direct questions that you have for the members of our leadership who will be presenting today. We also welcome you to use the chat feature to dialogue with each other and also with our staff who are online, as well as the other ISCB board members and officers who are joining us. We have a very robust agenda, so we hope to keep on time, but please keep in mind we do have to exit the room no later than 1:55 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time so that we can make room for the CAMDA session and the exciting science that's going to happen there. So without further ado, I am going to turn the presentation over to Thomas Lingauer, ISCB's president. Thomas, you may take the screen.
I have turned my video and my audio on, but I don't have to do anything else, right? So welcome everybody. I'm happy to see so many people. We have a count of 173. I think that is more than we ever had in a physical meeting. There you see the advantages of virtual meetings. Let me go through the following points. And the first point is, of course, the most up-to-date, serving the ISCB community through challenging times. The COVID-19 pandemic is presenting unprecedented fundamental challenges to the whole world, and ISCB is no exception. Within a time window of a couple of weeks in March, ISCB had to decide what to do with its flagship conference in 2020. The options were: one, hoping for the best and trying to hold it in Montreal as originally planned; two, moving it to later in the year; three, canceling it altogether; and four, holding a virtual meeting. We decided to turn the conference into a virtual experience, and we saw opportunities in this as well as challenges. In order to attract scientists globally to the conference, we introduced registration fees that are tiered according to high income, low middle income, and low income regions. We offered group registrations such that labs could pay a flat fee for having up to 8 group members join the conference, and we offered registration fellowships open to any society member. The overriding goal of all this was that the society continue to service its members in these challenging times. There was one major unknown. Would our members decide to attend the conference also in its virtual form? Happily, the return was overwhelming. We have over 1,500 individual registrations and almost 90 lab registrations, driving the delegate count to over 2,200. This is an encouraging indicator that the community is willing to make this move into virtual. The society leadership and the organizing team under the leadership of Diane Kovatz, who you just heard, and Stephen Laird were and are continuing to be highly committed to making this experience as effective as possible. While I assume that there may be some technical glitches, the team has put in extreme effort in order to facilitate smooth operations. Actually, I personally am exhilarated about how well this is working. Up to a few minutes before the conference, I had heartbeats missing, but I'm very calm now. So please bear with us in cases that things may not work quite as you expect, and let us know your impressions of this experiment and your suggestions for further developments after the conference. On Thursday morning, the conference features a session specially addressing the COVID-19 pandemic, with 2 invited talks and 12 contributed talks that we selected from over 75 submissions. Please consider taking part in this session. Furthermore, and beyond the conference, there is a section on the ISCB website specifically dedicated to COVID-19. In that section, you can post notices on published papers presenting contributions from computational biology regarding the pandemic that you find especially relevant. And I may say this section can be enlivened more so than it has been. There is a base staple of notices there, but there is not very much dynamics. So please, if you have something that you want to let other people know, please enter it there. You can also point us to relevant data sets there or to ongoing community projects. Finally, we have a continuing series of webinars targeting the pandemic, which are announced on this site. This is beyond the conference, an ongoing series of webinars. With your contribution to this site, you can help us present a more comprehensive picture of the advances in the intersection of our field with the pandemic. Okay, now comes the second topic, continuing to support our conferences and movement to virtual. Aside from ISCB, we are working with the steering committees of our regional and topical conferences to transition their events in order to give the scientific community a platform to continue to present the research. I would like to thank Belle Hansen, ISCB Senior Manager of Programs and Operations, and Seth Mulholland, ISCB Program and Operations Specialists, for their leadership on these programs. They're working hard to create engaging experiences with a focus on delivery of excellent scientific programs. Third point, launch of ISCB Academy. In March of this year, ISCB fast-tracked its webinar program, which we call ISCB Academy. This is not only COVID-19, this is on general issues. In conjunction with the communities of special interest, so the COSIs, and the webinar program presents selected researchers who give a live stream talk on their research, very much like our keynotes that you experience here. Access to the webinar series is complimentary for all ISCB members and is open to non-members for a fee. We hope to continue to expand this program by inviting talks from our fellows, our former award winners, senior members, and partnering with our affiliated groups. We're really excited about this program. We've held 16 webinars to date and have 6 more coming in the next few months. Next point, journal. ISCB leadership approved a partnership with OUP to develop an open access journal. I'm very pleased to announce to the membership and scientific community that yesterday, the board of directors of ISCB empowered the society leadership to sign a contract with Oxford University Press to develop a new open access journal. The journal title will be Bioinformatics Advances, with a subtitle, A Journal of the Society for Computational Biology. The journal's mission is to serve all areas of research of the research community pertaining to computational biology. More details about the journal will be communicated soon. ISCB members will receive significant publishing fee discounts to this journal. Next point, supporting equity and inclusion in science. ISCB recently released a statement on countering social injustice. We know that this is not a trivial topic. As an organization, we know this is no easy task, and we recognize that systemic change requires new ideas and rests on all of our voices being heard. We are committed to supporting change and doing our part. Your feedback will help us in this endeavor. And later on in the program, our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee co-chair will be previewing the 2020 and 2021 ISCB Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Strategic Plan, ISCB's first ever strategic plan related to this area. My thanks go to the committee for proposing this actionable strategic plan by which ISCB can make a measurable difference. Last point, ISCB Green Initiatives, the ISCB Groves. Under the leadership of our Green ISCB Task Force, I am pleased to announce the approval of the ISCB Groves, a CO2 offsetting program organized by ISCB. The chair of the task force, Alex Bateman, will speak more about this new initiative later in this meeting. As I close out my president's address, I encourage you to continue to use the Q&A function within the system to ask your questions. I will be standing by to answer them, and if we have time at the end of the program, I can address some of them live. Now, that was the end of my part, and we are now going on to introducing our fellows and prize winners. Let's start with the fellows. It is my honor to formally introduce the 2020 class of fellows. They are Serafim Batsoglu from Stanford University. Can we have the slide again? Thanks. Serafim Batsoglu from Stanford University, Judith Blake from Jackson Lab, Mark Bordowski from Georgia Tech, Rita Casadillo from the University of Bologna, Paul Flicek from EBI, Osamu Goto from AIST in Tokyo, Rafael Irizarry from Harvard, Lashmi Parida from IBM TJ Watson Research Center, Catherine Pollard from UCSF, Ben Rayfield from Princeton, Jiping Wang from the University of Massachusetts, and Zhugong Zhang from Tsinghua University in Beijing. I invite you to join us on Thursday morning for a special presentation before the morning keynote as we continue to celebrate our new fellows. Now on for the Student Software Prize. The Student Software Prize is a new prize that was created to recognize the development of excellent bioinformatics software by students and postdocs that are members of the International Society for Computational Biology. There are 2 winners, and the winners receive a prize of their choice. They can choose between a complimentary ISCB membership or a free registration to any official ISCB conference at the membership rate. And the first winner, you see that already, is for the so-called Prospective Future Impact Award winner prize. And that's Robert Yitzward from Harvard Medical School for the system GeneWalk. The second winner is the winner of the Student Software Prize, and that is Florian Schmidt from Saarland University for the system TEPIC. And I hope I'm good at pronouncing German names, but with the other names, please bear with me, you guys, if I don't spell them correctly, pronounce them correctly. All right, so we have 2 happy software prize winners, and we now go on to the second category of prizes, the Wikipedia competition prizes. That has been going on in its 9th year, the Wikipedia Competition Award, and it aims to improve the coverage on Wikipedia of any aspect of computational biology. A key component of ISCB's mission to further the scientific understanding of living systems through computation is to communicate this knowledge to the public. Wikipedia has become an important way to communicate all types of science to the public, and Wikidata plays an increasingly growing role in that. ISCB aims to further its mission by increasing the quality of Wikipedia and Wikidata coverage of computational biology, and by improving accessibility to this information via Wikipedia and its sister sites. The competition is open to students and trainees at any level, either as individuals or as groups. There are 3 prizes, a first prize, a second prize, a third prize, and they're staggered according to a cash donation, which is $500 for the first prize, $250 for the second prize. The third prize receives $150, and all of them receive a free 1-year membership to ISCB. And here are the winners. We start with the third prize, Darko Durovsky from Leiden University for an article on transcriptomics. The second prize is to Tiago Lubiana Alves from the University of Sao Paulo in Brazil for two articles on the OBO Foundry and the list of OBO foundry ontologies. And the first prize goes to Diego Mariano from the Federal University of Minas Gerais in Belo Horizonte, Brazil, also Brazil, for 2 articles on structural bioinformatics, one in English and the other in Portuguese. So these are our Wikipedia competition winners, which we applaud right now virtually. And the last set of prizes is on art in science and art and science. We have an art and science competition. We've had it running for a number of years, and it features the beauty within scientific research. The winner of the competition, the first prize, receives a $200 cash amount. So we have 3 mentions. We have a third place This goes, and you see the piece of art on the slide, to Marwan Abdallah from EPFL in Lausanne for this piece of art called Brain Vasculature. The second prize goes to Joshua Bugbee from University of Michigan Medical School for this piece of art called Impact. And the first place is Stenko Hacek from the International Agency for the Research on Cancer by WHO, that's a WHO institute in Lyon. And his piece of art is called The Art of Epigenetics. So let us virtually applaud all of these prize winners. And this is the end of my portion of the program. And I'm now going to welcome Bruno Gaeta, the treasurer of our society, to present the annual treasurer's report. Thank you.
Good afternoon or good morning for me. It's 3 a.m. right now in Australia. And I'm going to present the financial situation as well as the membership review. So first of all, you may have noticed, but these are difficult times and the society is certainly bearing the brunt. But as you'll see, we are doing reasonably well still. Our goal is to run the society as non-profit. So we aim to run all the programs at break-even levels annually. And we have two major sources of income. We have the membership dues on one hand, and we have the conference proceeds on the other. The membership dues go towards the operational management of the society. So the general programs, the committees running the society pretty much, as well as a student council. What we get from the conferences go into more conferences as well as at-risk activities such as ISCB Connect, ISCB Academy, and so on. Next slide. So yes, this year we are facing a number of challenges and our membership has declined significantly compared to last year. Plus the fact that we've had to cancel the face-to-face conference, which represent a major revenue source and moving to virtual. But as Thomas said, when we discussed what to do, what we decided to do is to hold the conference virtually and keep the cost of the conference as low as we can make it, to try to generate interest and to continue the conference. And in order to do that, we needed to use our reserves. So we approved to use a large chunks of the reserves to cover any deficits that are going to be a result of the pandemic. Next slide. In terms of membership, last year, 2019, was our best year ever. We had a peak membership of 3,478 members. And since that, our membership has dropped to 2,761. So there is a big drop there. Last year's was partly, the high membership was partly the result of a very successful ISMB in Basel. And this year, there is obviously no conference, no physical conference. So the membership is dropping. So we are continuing to try to look at ways in which we can encourage people to join the society, not just to attend the conference, but other benefits as well that are going to encourage people to join the society and to keep their membership even when there is no conference or when the conference is virtual. If we get good membership, that allows us to provide more funding for the programs that support the members. Next slide. So this is showing the same thing graphically. This is the membership for the last 10 years, 11 years. So there has been ongoing growth in terms of maximum numbers, but you can see the big drop in 2020 to date. And this is the breakdown of the membership in terms of regions. So our membership, the majority of our membership is still the largest contributor is North America, followed by Europe. And those two typically go, as a balance, vice versa, depending on where ISMB is taking place from year to year. And this year, ISMB is virtual, so both have come down. Asia is next. Okay, so the funding there, we can see 2019 compared to 2018, 2017. You can see that 2019 was a very good year with a net profit of 173, almost $174,000, which was very good given that we had originally budgeted a deficit in that year. Our investments were growing steadily. And we invested $34,000 in programs and $1,500,000 in conferences. All right, so where does this money go? The money that comes from the membership dues and the conferences. As you can see, in 2019, the total operation costs outside the conferences were about $500,000. That's the costs for running the programs which are not the conferences, as well as keeping the society running. And the membership dues and career center, which are meant to fund those operational costs, was $365,000. So the difference, the shortfall in there, comes from the conference profits. So we rely to ISMB to complement that. Next slide. So 2020 looked like it was not going to be a very good year. So the board of directors approved transitioning the budget to operate in a deficit of up to $450,000 US, which represented 26% of our investment reserves. And that allowed us to run ISMB virtual with rates, with fees that could be kept very low, especially for developing countries, as a way to try to encourage attendance from developing countries, as well as that some of that money was available in support funding for any ISMB member to participate. And the goal was to run the society without cutting programs, including the ISCB Academy program, which we just introduced in the last year. So thanks to excellent 2019, we had a good cash flow, and that has allowed us to keep the society alive, and we'll have enough money to keep us going well into next year without dipping too deeply into our reserves. We want to operate the society as break-even with hope to make some money to support new activities for future years. A challenge is declining membership. It will put a strain on the finances. So we are continuing to try to find benefits for membership outside of the conferences so that membership numbers keep growing. And of course, the future of face-to-face meetings is uncertain. So we ask you to continue to support the society with virtual meeting participation, even if there's no face-to-face meetings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bruno. And if you have any questions for Bruno, please feel free to put them in the Q&A section and he can answer them while we continue with our presentation. Now I would like to welcome Scott Markle, ISCB Secretary and our co-chair for the ISCB Nominations Committee, to present our elections.
Thanks, Dan. All right, so polls are open. Very much an online effort again this year. We have 3 candidates for Vice President, Alex, Nikki, and Russell, and 2 for Secretary, Michelle and Lucia. Ballots close Thursday of this week, so if you have not voted yet, please do so. And I'm also happy to report that at yesterday's Board of Directors meeting, we had our annual election. We're welcoming Christoph to the board for the first time, and Janet, Waturu, Russell, and Alfonso as returning members. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Scott. And at this time, Alex Bateman, Chair of the Green ISCB Task Force, will be joining us to introduce our new initiative, ISCB Groves. Alex?
Hi, Diane. Thank you. So I think that it probably hasn't escaped anyone's notice that we are in the middle of a climate emergency. And many of us in ISCB and ISCB leadership have become increasingly concerned about this. And so, of course, this conference usually has, because of the air travel of everyone that travels to it, has emissions on the order of maybe 700 to 800 tons of CO2 per year, which is quite considerable. Having said that, we absolutely see the value of having conferences and in-person conferences. But so we started to think about ways to ameliorate that. Now, obviously, the COVID disaster has stepped in and actually pushed us to a very low carbon emission conference this year. And so I think that really can make us think about really hard about how we organize things in the future to reduce our carbon footprint and have a more sustainable meeting. Now, when we formed the ISCB task force 1 year ago, one of the first things that we thought about was it would be difficult to reduce people's air travel significantly, very rapidly. And so we thought about offsetting and providing some form of offsetting. And so the board actually last year approved the offsetting the ISMB 2020. When this moved to a virtual conference, that became inappropriate to offset the air travel. However, what the board have just approved just yesterday is the creation of what we call an ISCB Grove. And so this is the planting of trees to offset carbon emissions of ISCB. And this is not just planting pine trees for cutting down for forestry kind of work. This is, we're interested in offsetting and planting trees, native trees that can really increase biodiversity and be a significant carbon sink. So the ISCB Grove, we're working with a UK-based charity called All Things Green, Small and Green, which was founded by Gabriel Waxman, who is an academic, structural biologist actually. And he's thought very deeply about how to help fund tree planting in a sustainable fashion. And so we have, for this year, created a grove which actually is physically located in Scotland and is maintained by a very distinguished and respected charity in the UK called Trees for Life. And so that grove is now available, and I think in the next day or so, you'll be able to visit the URL on this slide. And you can offset your carbon emissions, perhaps for travel that you have done, probably not this year, but in previous years, or simply make a donation to the ISCB Grove. So please follow that link and do have a look at that. Just to say, offsetting is really not our first choice. Our first choice is to stop these carbon emissions or reduce them very significantly. And offsetting is sort of the third step down. But we feel that in the current situation, this is an important step that we can take. And I hope that you will support us in making donations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex, and thank you to the task force who has worked very hard on all these initiatives. I now would like to bring on screen our co-chair from our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee, Lucia Piasso, to talk to you about our EDI strategic plan for 2021.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Lucia Peixoto, and together with Terry Gastelin, I co-chair the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee. This committee was formed last year in Basel to continue the work of the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Task Force. So first, I want to thank everybody that served on that task force, as well as everybody that currently serves on the committee for all the work that has gone into equity and diversity. So why scientific workforce diversity? So it's not only the moral, fair, and right thing to do. Diversity is a driving force of excellence and innovation. So we came together to design a way to put a plan into action that will tackle increasing diversity, equity, and inclusion in the society. And we look at research of which kind of programs work and which kind of programs don't work to come out with this the components of the strategic plan you can see on the slide. The first component is to increase the social accountability for change in the society. And this will be done through the ADI committee, through statements and policies, some of which you may be familiar with, like the ISCB Code of Conduct and the Statement on Social Justice. We also are tasked with obtaining data and develop measures to assess the progress. And currently there is a diversity survey that all members can complete. So if you can do so, it will really be of great help to know where we stand and how we progress. The third component is voluntary bias awareness training, which we label the ISCB Awareness toolkit that will soon be made available to all of ISCB members on leadership. One of the things that research shows is that mandatory training doesn't really work, but that we can rely on people's goodwill to actually inform themselves about unconscious bias. We all have it. The more aware we are of it, the better able we are to overcome it and be scientists and be more objective. And then we'll be working on the following years on a recruitment initiative and mentoring initiative to increase diversity within the society. So we will be focusing on a series of action items for the 2020-2021 year. One of them is obtain data on diversity and ICB members and implementing the ICB Awareness Toolkit. And we also seek feedback from the membership on how to increase the representation of underrepresented minority groups in our society and in our meetings. So I'll be available not only through the chat, but I'm available through Slack all throughout the conference. So please reach out to me if you have ideas, if you have questions. And again, I want to thank everybody that was a member of the committee from coming together to do this. And that's all I have to say for now. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you so much, Lucia. I really appreciate your time today. With that, I'd like to turn our program over to our very robust and energetic Student Council for Farzana to give you a Student Council update and then the presentation of the Student Council Symposium 2020 Awards. I'm going to stop my screen so Farzana can take over. It's all yours, Farzana.
Thank you, Diane.
Farzana, are you still with us?
Yes, I am actually. It's not allowing me to share my screen for some reason. Just I need to, yeah.
Okay, please hang on. Our tech team will get us right back on track momentarily. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Diane, should I just send you the slides?
Yes, Farzana, go ahead and send them to me. And
Right, okay, yeah.
hopefully we can right this ship quickly. Thank you everyone for your patience. And maybe we could flip-flop. If we could see if Wim and the student council team for SES can activate their slide share, perhaps we can move to that. And then we'll get back to Farzana while I wait for her slides to come to me.
Okay, thank you very much. This is Wim here already. I'm initiating the screen share now.
Perfect, thanks.
So could you confirm maybe, Diane, that you are seeing in the screen share?
We got you all loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. It's a real honor to be here. My name is Wim. I'm from Antwerp, Belgium. And together with Melike and Jaslyn, I chaired the 16th ISCB Student Council Symposium. Let me start by thanking everyone first, especially the ISCB Student Council team, our SES team, which is it was really great to work with them. We are from all over the world, as you can see on this map. And I want to thank the ISCB specifically, the leadership, the staff, and in particular, Diane, Belle, and Steph for their amazing support the past weeks, past months actually. And without them, it would have been very difficult or even impossible to organize this symposium. Here's a very short timeline of our events. We start with a Slack communication and a website, which has proven very useful. And as you will know, everything was shifted back a bit because of COVID, but all our presenters were really happy that they were able to present on this international platform, and they didn't complain about the fact that everything was a bit later, and we had a really amazing day. With that, I want to pass on the virtual microphone to Melike, my co-chair, who will talk a bit about the details of the symposium.
Hi, thank you, Wim. So as Wim described, there were many challenges involved in organizing a virtual symposium, all the communication and stuff, but it also provided an amazing opportunity to connect with our colleagues from all around the world. This year, our symposium received a record number of registrations, more than 350. And on average, each live session registered 70 to 80 attendees despite the time zone differences. And some of our attendees agreed to share their information through a survey. And we found some exciting insights and we want to share it with you. So we had similar numbers of masters, PhD, and postdocs. And although not as much as we would like, there were also some undergraduate students. Around 40% of all participants met ISCB Student Council with this event. And even more exciting is that 70% of all participants showed interest in joining either SC or regional student groups. And it was the first SCS or ISMB experience for 75% of participants, and 85% have attended less than 3 international conferences. This is partly because we mainly address early career researchers, but also 70% reported that they wouldn't be able to attend the symposium if it wasn't virtual. And in the next slide, when we check the attendee profile, please note that this only reflects the live attendees. We see a good distribution all around the world despite the time differences. And so we believe, thanks to this virtual event, we managed to reach amazing colleagues, and hopefully we will enrich our network in the near future. And it's definitely not to replace in-person meetings, but virtual events also pose great opportunities. And lastly, I want to share the highlights of our program. We had amazing keynote lectures from Professor Samet Nejafabadi and Elena Fertig. We had 9 presentations selected from submitted abstracts and a virtual poster hall with still ongoing discussions. And we also had an inspiring invited talk by Jenny Adams, the founder of Black Women in Computational Biology Network. And we also had a very motivating career panel, and my colleague Jaslyn will share the details now.
Thank you, Melike. So the career panel happened on the first day as the last session of the day. Same as the rest of the talks, we had about 75 attendees for this. We had 3 panelists who reflected very different post-academic career paths. So we had Dr. Ann Mullen from Science Consulting, Dr. Anthony Fayez, who has experience in entrepreneurship and research scientist roles. And then we had Rita Strack, who's senior editor at Nature Methods. Instead of moderating the discussion ourselves, we brought in Dr. Bruce Seat from the Science to Business Network in Toronto. So this was an in-kind sort of collaboration. And since he has extensive experience in training highly skilled professionals on how to transition from academia to industry, it ended up being a really good way to manage the discussion and cover a very broad set of topics. So as you can see on the right from our pre-survey, a lot of interest was centered around differences in qualifications and day-to-day obligations for the various panelist roles. People also had questions about entrepreneurship, when the right time is to transition out of academia if they want to, and then to figure out how to find a good fit in a different career option. Now in the next slide, I'll highlight a bit more about the fellowships and awards that we've offered as well. So we had 2 different types of fellowships to support attendees. We had, for anyone who had submitted an abstract to SCS, we had offered a registration fellowship award, which would cover the registration costs. We had 35 applicants for that, and we awarded 21 attendees a registration fellowship. In addition, we also offered a remote attendance fellowship this year, where attendees from developing countries with limited resources would get monetary support to cover registration and participation costs like internet plan purchases. So we had 8 applications for this, and we had 3 attendees who were awarded and able to participate as a result, 2 from Bangladesh and 1 from Argentina. They will be writing a blog post about their experiences as part of the fellowship requirements. Another amazing demonstration of how this was really helpful was that one of our remote attendance fellowship winners was actually the winner of the best poster prize as well. So as you'll see in the next slide, we had 4 different awardees for the best talk and best poster. We had ties for the 3rd place in both categories. About 120 of the SCS attendees voted using Google Forms to determine the best talk and best poster winners. We were able to offer these awards and fellowships thanks to the support of Harvard Medical School's Biomedical Bioinformatics Master's Program, for which we're quite grateful. And that's all the updates from us.
Thank you so much to the Student Council, and congratulations on another excellent SCS, though it was virtual. And a special thanks again to Setzman Holland, ISCB staff member, who helped with all the technical sides of that. So I'm going to go ahead and get us back for the Student Council presentation and Farzana's slides. So just give me 1 second here and I will launch those.
Just before you start, can everyone hear me?
Yep, we can hear you perfectly, Farzana. Thank you.
Okay, that's good then. Right. Okay, so yeah, thanks, Dan. Good afternoon, evening, and actually also, yeah, good morning to some places. So I'm Farzana Rahman. I will be presenting Student Council's updates until date from 2019, briefly to the ISCB virtual town hall meeting today. So in the next slide, okay. So as you can see that ISCB Student Council was based on the mission to develop and nurture and support the next generation of computational biologists. And here you can see a part of the executive team and the committee leaders in the pictures. Well, I cannot say that you will meet them physically if you wanted, but you can definitely virtually meet them through ISMB. However, in the next slide, you can see that the Student Council is not only based on those group of people who you saw in the first previous slide, rather it's a very large group of people who represents the SC. So if you were a part of SC or you are a part of SC now, and you do not see your photo there, I would suggest that you go to the collage.icbsc.org and actually add your photo. Okay, so in the Student Council, we take a diversity very seriously, and we believe in leadership and in every, equality and diversity in leadership roles in every possible way. And that's why we counted a survey, and you can see that we have a very good diversity in the Student Council's core leadership team with a 48 to 52 ratio for female male leaders. It is not only within the core leadership, however, also in the RSG levels, we have a great diversity. Okay, now I will present you a few of the updates for the Council's committee. So first to go with the Education and Internship Committee. Okay, so the purpose of our committee is to bring students and trainees from developing nation and place them into developed a lab where who were not actually exposed to international facilities. And therefore, thanks to ISCB's Anatomy Fellowship Fund, we have managed to offer 3 internship to students in 2019. One of them were in Bateman lab, thanks to Alex Bateman for supporting our cause. And also another one in Germany to the Berlin Genomics Diversity Research Center. And the third one, which we couldn't actually host due to the pandemic happened, but we are hoping to host the third person soon. In also that is also in Germany. So if you are an PI who would like to actually support our students from developing nations to be hosted in developed nation, and you want to do it through our program, please reach out to us, and then we can talk about how to progress. Okay. So in the next slide, so ISCB Student Council have got a presence across the globe through our regional student groups. So we have currently 34 active RSGs who operates globally via different symposia, workshop, hackathon, virtual events. Okay. So just to give an example of our presence globally, to the next slide. Okay. So you can see the distribution of regional student groups in this map. So the dark gray areas show the presence of RSGs globally. And we are happy to welcome 3 new RSGs, RSG Greece, Bangladesh, and Peru to the team. And if you are viewing this map now, and if you think that there is no presence in your country as part of Student Council, feel free to reach our RSG team, and we will be happy to actually talk to you. So Sayani Shom, who is leading the RSG team, she will be in the ISMB Slack channel, so you can reach out to her directly to talk about RSG proposals. Okay. So we have initiated what the RSGs led, Melike and Sayani has actually initiated a very interesting projects, which is the webinar series, and that was initiated and launched after ISMB 2019. And till now, through Student Council's webinars program, we have hosted 7 virtual talks, and there are 25 more talks scheduled till September 2020. We are actively looking for collaborations from educational organizations to promote the bioinformatics education through our webinar program. So if you are interested to host and collaborate with us, please feel free to reach out Melike and Sayani through ISMB Slack channel. Okay, so the next slide. Right, so our web committee is led by Spencer and Alex, who are actively helping Student Council to maintain the RSG websites, as well as helping out tremendously to organize the symposia through symposium management system and with our peer review process. Okay. So our treasurer Bart Kuipers did a great job again, even though it was a virtual seminar, to raise $3,500 to host the virtual SCS. And also we have like Melike and we mentioned that we have managed to actually secure 26 free registrations for students from developing nations, and also through the Student Council's budget and different symposia, different sponsors help. We are hosting more than, we have already hosted actually 13 events, and we are looking to host another couple of more events in this year, which I'll show you in the next slides. Okay, so our outreach committee led by Nazifa is doing a tremendous job to keep our social media presence. So you can check out all the tweets and our Facebook post through Student Council account, and keep connected with us. So we have our next Student Council Symposium, the virtual one again, which will be European Student Council Symposium, will be hosted on 6th of September in parallel to ISCB. And we are pleased to inform that we have Dr. Sophia Forsland and Dr. Patrick Alloy, who have agreed to be the keynote speakers for the symposium. So the next slide, okay. So we are continuously developing our programs through different committees, and now our main aim is to actually expand our virtual seminar series and also to recruit more interns and give them opportunities through the Student Council Education and Internship Committee, and expand the global network through RSGs. So in 2019, we have also organized SCS Africa in SCS Africa and Ghana, and the editorial is now published in F1000. I would highly recommend everyone to have a look and then read through the excellent work done in African region by Student Council students. And okay, so we are always actively looking for volunteers. So if you are a student in the group, or if you are a PI, who have got very encouraging students who would like to be part of the Student Councils, please forward the link to them so that they can sign up and to be a part of the Student Council's co-members. Okay. And in finally, okay, so COVID-19 has impacted us all, and due to this pandemic, the early career researchers as well as everyone involved in the scientific community has been impacted. So we have created a COVID-19 impact survey to learn about how it has impacted the early career researchers as well as the established scientists and everyone who are working in computational biology in bioinformatics. So we would really appreciate if you can go to the survey link and participate and help us understand your experience during this pandemic time. Okay. I know that there has been a lot of information in all the slides that we have presented now. So therefore, if you actually go to follow us on Twitter or go to the Twitter links, then you can find the survey link and everything that has been presented today. And also we have got a Slack channel at ISMB, which is #ISCB_Slack student council. So, and as I said, like, we're actively looking for volunteers. So if you are willing to be a part of the Student Council, we really appreciate if you can actually sign up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Farzana, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm really, really sorry that we've run out of time, but I don't see any more questions in the chat. Again, as Thomas had mentioned at the first part of the presentation, we welcome your comments and feedback at any time. So if you want to just reach out to us, please feel free to do so. There is the ISCB Slack channel that you can navigate to from all the Slack channels that are available for the conference. And if you ever need me, you can reach me at admin@iscb.org. Thank you so much for attending this afternoon, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference today. For that, I'll open back up the channel to Canada because I'm sure they're eager to get their scientific program back rolling. Thank you again. Have a great day, everyone.